World Cup is only 7 or 8 weeks away. So despite the series already being won by New Zealand, plenty to play for.
First time for Dominic Drakes in this series. Left arm bowling all-rounder. Of course, son of former West Indian all-rounder Vasper Drakes. Off the mark, first run for New Zealand.
Of course, the same surface being used today. 3 matches in a row on the one pitch is very interesting. You can see that it has lost the amount of, a fair bit of grass that had at start for game 1. It's just been burnt off with this hot weather. There are crackings along the surface and it is very dry. But the one thing I noticed, Darren, it's still hard. There's still a hardness to the surface, but you certainly expect, being the 3rd game on the surface, that it should slow up and aid the spinners and also pace off the ball for the quicks.
Devon Conway, quite a few starts in this series. 43 from 29 in the first game. 42 from 34 in the second. What a beauty. Absolute cracker of a delivery first up from Dominic Drakes.
That's the last sort of delivery you want first up, Devon Conway. This is a beauty from Drakes. Look at that, just held its line, just went away enough to go past the outside edge. But that's a good start, that's in a very good area. And that will just have Devon Conway just ticking, just thinking a little bit.
A little bit of hesitation, but Martin Guptill committed quite early from the non-striker's end. He was running to the danger area and made good ground.
Yeah, it was a nice early call, wasn't it? Azari Joseph had the throw, but I think Guptill was quick on. He wasn't actually. Direct hit, would have been out. Always looked comfortable. The throw was not really close to the stumps. New Zealand will be hoping that Martin Guptill finds some form and gets going today. Dangerous player at the top.
He's sitting right behind Rohit Sharma. In terms of most aggregate runs in T20 internationals, that's a significant accomplishment.
Yeah, it sure is. He just needs the 6 runs this match to go past Rohit Sharma at the top again. They've leapfrogged one another a number of times in the last couple of months with all the T20 cricket being played around the world, but he's been consistent in this side, New Zealand side, for some time.
Superb control from Dominic Drakes first up. 1 over gone through without loss. Azari Joseph from Antigua and Barbuda. Right-arm fast bowler for the West Indies. Brought into the side, and when you look at the combination of bowlers, you think it's a more competitive bunch. Haven't seen the 2 spinners bowl in tandem with each other for a long time. The last time both Akil Hosein and Hayden Walsh Jr. bowled together was back in July against Bangladesh in Guyana.
Yeah, it's one of the things I noticed from the 4 changes today, Darren, is the fact that the West Indies are playing 2 spinners, which on a surface that's been used for the 3rd time is almost a given. New Zealand will have 3, plus a 4th part-time spinner in Glen Phillips, so there'll be plenty of spin options for New Zealand. But Hayden Walsh Jr. struggled throughout the series. He's bowled the 8 overs, hasn't picked up a wicket, and he's gone for 84 runs. So going over 10 and over without picking up a wicket is not ideally what you want your spinner, the role for him to fulfill. So he's under a bit of pressure today, but he's got some help with Hosein coming into this West Indian side.
Just staying with that point, I also feel it's important for you as a team at the international level to have the resources necessary to first and foremost pick an 11 that is strategically sound. And here at Sabina Park, of course, we've seen New Zealand invest in an additional spinner in that second T20 international, not the West Indies. Only now in the 3rd match, 2 spinners are being used.
Surely that's home advantage, isn't it? That's the advantage of playing at home. And if you give that away to the opposition, well, things become a little bit tough, don't they? It is most unusual to be playing a 3rd match on the one surface. Quite often you'll get 2 matches on one surface, but to that 3rd game, trying to rack my brain last time, I'm not sure I can remember when that's ever happened before. So the spinners should get some use out of the surface.
Use of the feet, flies away for 4, and he goes past Rohit Sharma with most runs in T20 internationals.
Yeah, it's the thick outside edge from Martin Guptill, but he won't be too worried. He got the result he was after. Joseph hit a hard length with 3rd man up. It meant it flew all the way.
Not quite off the middle of the bat. Covered the line nicely with the full face, Martin Guptill.
And I think that's something we might see today in terms of players struggling for a bit of timing on this surface. Certainly be slower than what we saw the other day. So finding the middle of the bat is going to be a little bit more difficult. That was high in the splice. Nice bit of bowling, nice bit of bounce here from Azari Joseph, and in a good hard length.
Can he close the over off? Last delivery of this, the 2nd. Does very well. Produces a dot, Azari Joseph. 2 overs gone, 11 without loss.
Martin Guptill goes back to the top. Pretty good numbers, in fact. You look at those numbers with Rohit Sharma, the averages are almost identical. Sharma's played a few more matches, so it's a very good record from Martin Guptill. Some great names on that list. The interesting thing when you look at all those players, so generally top order players, they bat in the top 3, don't they? Nice to have a New Zealander at the top. Leading run scorer, T20 international cricket, Martin Guptill. Leapfrogs Rohit Sharma. Virat Kohli. Look at that, an average of 50. Those are unbelievable numbers. Here's a change, 2. Spin into the attack nice and early for the West Indies. Keel Hosein. Very good T20 bowl. Look at that economy rate, outstanding at 6.9. Let's see what he can do in this power play.
He's shown good form with the ball in this format of the game, Akeal Hosein. Since 2000, ranks in the top 5 bowlers in T20Is with very good economy. One of the areas that has assisted the West Indies in this format. Captains can rely on him to keep things tight, and every now and again he prizes a wicket. The other thing he can do is bowl in the power play.
Well, there's some turn there. Straight away to the right-handed Martin Guptill. Quite often you hear teams talking about matchups. And I think this is a good matchup for the West Indies. The left arm spinner up against Martin Guptill. Generally prefers pace on the ball. You can see that, good against pace, especially right arm pace, but off break and left arm orthodox, strike rate's not quite as high.
Use of the feet, effective use of it. Nice clean strike, he loves to hit in the V's. Martin Guptill.
Very strong down the ground. Just got to pull your length back a touch, especially if the ball's turning and bouncing. You don't have to be that full. It's a good option from Martin Guptill. He's at his best when he's hitting straight down the ground with his power.
Clean him up. Usually batters are expecting a fuller delivery after the use of the feet. Akeal Hosein got the length right, got it in the slot, and got his man.
It's premeditated from Martin Guptill. He'd be disappointed because the ball before he used his feet and hit straight. This time he goes across the line. It's a horrible shot. The stumps are castled. You have to say a nice piece of bowling from Hosein, the left arm spinner. Not a great option from Guptill. Nice piece of bowling. We talked about the matchup. Well, the matchup goes to the West Indies first up.
And some of you might be wondering, Santner at number 3, he's done it previously against Netherlands, produced the goods with the bat for his team. He's got an unbeaten 77 in that game, 77 on 42, and starts with a boundary. What a start to him. 3 overs gone, 22 for 1. With Santner batting at number 3 ahead of Kane Williamson. Williamson held that position in the previous 2 matches of the series. Of course, New Zealand capitalizing on the matchup for a left-hander to play the left arm spin of Akeal Hosein. Dominic Drakes to continue. And Maka, that's one thing that Gary Stead, the New Zealand coach, spoke about. His team doing well to produce the first 2 wins, playing the matchups well. Here again, they're investing in another left-hander to counter the spin.
Yeah, it's a good point, Darren, because New Zealand have a number of left-handers in that middle to lower order, Neesham, Bracewell, Santner. So by floating him to take that matchup away from the West Indies, it'll be interesting to see if Hosein bowls a second over. Whether the West Indies say this isn't the right matchup for us, so we'll go to someone else. So that will be interesting to see. But I like it. I like the flexibility. He's a player in good form, as you mentioned. He played a match-winning knock against the Netherlands on the recent tour. Of course, where he was captain in those T20s. So it's one of those players that's been around a long time. He's 30 years old. You sort of think of Mitch Santner as being 25, 26. But he's been around a long time. And that's why he's in, because he strikes at 145 against the left arm spinner.
Evidence of how important cricket analytics, those numbers are in the T20 game. Teams basing strategies on the numbers.
Well, you're always looking for something that's in your favour, aren't you? And it's important that you don't play the game by analysis, but you still look for areas that it favours you and might give you an advantage over the opposition. Those numbers are pretty consistent for Devon Conway. No real gaps there.
Yeah, look at Mitch Santner. I get a sense that he has a greater feeling of belonging in this New Zealand side, having had the chance to lead the team in this format. Usually when you hold that sort of leadership position, it settles your mind a bit more. And for me, from a leadership point of view, it's fascinating to see that Kane Williamson has carried this role as the all-formats captain since 2016 for New Zealand. So, of course, New Zealand will want to have other players who can manage and help with his workload across formats.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was rested for the white ball part of the Northern Tour, so the likes of Tom Latham, captain New Zealand in the one-day internationals, and Mitchell Santner in the T20s. So you need that experience and that help around you when you are going to actually rest players, especially your skipper.
Tim Southee as well led the side against India in India. End of the fourth, 26 for 1. Change in ends for Zari Joseph. Now from the Courtney Walsh end. That's a beautiful shot. Just the full face of the bat presented. It was a jab down the ground, timed sweetly.
Well, when you come in a position like this for Mitchell Santner, you give him freedom. There's a matchup that you're after, but if the matchup doesn't follow through, well, then you've still got the freedom to go after the other bowlers and try and create a strike rate and get New Zealand off to a fast start. That's just a lovely cricket shot off a good hard length.
Should be taken. Nope. Falls in the gap. Miscued shot from Santner.
A wry smile on the face, because I think he probably thought this was landing in the hands of one of the West Indian fielders. No timing at all. Again, it's that hard length. That was a lovely shot, the ball before. Ball after, he hit higher on the bat and it just lobbed up.
Wow, excellent communication between these two. It's been the hallmark of their batting in the series, the way they communicate, the intensity with the running between the wickets.
Yeah, it's a key part of this New Zealand side, is running between the wickets. It's the best way to establish a partnership sometimes, isn't it? Quick running with your mate, getting things going. Interested in the changes today, Darren. What are you wanting to see from this West Indian side today? Let's take away the result, because that will take care of itself. What do you want to see from this West Indian side?
Well, I haven't looked at the West Indies played against Bangladesh, played against India, now against New Zealand. I think the batting requires greater focus than the bowling. They've rested some of their more potent bowlers in T20 cricket, and that's because of the workload, and they're trying to manage that as they look towards the one-day international series against New Zealand, where Super League points are on offer. So I think it's good that they're giving different bowlers an opportunity. I like the fact that two spinners are playing. I feel at times, because of the conditions, maybe the opposition, you will need to play two spin bowlers. So it's good to see both of them getting an opportunity, and to develop a chemistry too adds to the effectiveness of spin.
Yeah, working out how they bowl together in tandem, especially through that middle part of the innings, is so important.
Another miscued shot. I don't think he'll be lucky this time. Yes! My word, Odean Smith. An absolute sitter is put down. End of the 5th, 34 for 1. There, Odean Smith will surely feel that he's let his team down. Alzari Joseph creating an opportunity for a wicket. They've set a very high standard for fielding in the previous 2 matches. And this will diminish that standard for the West Indies. Not in control, hands way too far from the ball. Maybe blinded by the sun too. Not an insult to injury. First ball of the 6th goes for mighty 6.
First ball of Romario Shepherd's over. Strained down the leg side and helped over fine leg by Devon Conway.
Two very crisp shots by Devon Conway. Pressure on Romario Shepherd. What a player he is. His game has transformed since moving to New Zealand in 2017. As good as any around the place today.
To short once more and wide. Food and drink for Devon Conway. Not the start Shepherd would have wanted. And just take a look back at that drop catch. He never looked settled, Odean Smith. Notice he's not wearing his shades. And the sun is out. A bad miss.
Usually gives his all in the field. He'll have some making up to do later.
Okay, Shepherd, come here, Shepherd, come here, Shepherd. Back here, Shepherd, boy. Okay.
Already looks like they'll be instructed to roll their fingers over the ball and bowl those cutters, take these off the ball as a variation. Nothing new, but it looks like there'll be another amenable to it. I think that was one there from Shepherd. Single taken. Power play complete. 47 for 1. $47 for 1. If you've just joined us, New Zealand won the toss again today and elected to bat first. Same surface as you've heard all along. Martin Guptill struck Akil Hosein down the ground. Next ball, he was castled. Similar type of length. Santner tucked his first one away for 4. And then that was a beautiful shot down the ground. The introduction of Shepherd produced a 6 and a 4 to Devon Conway. And there was a missed opportunity. Odean Smith, well, we have to say missed. He didn't touch it, but it was still a missed opportunity. That should have been grabbed. Akil Hosein is back. Yeah, I was trying to work out whether it was a cutter that he bowled, and that's why I'm so keen on them continuing to bowl it today. Rolled his fingers down the side and no fingers attached to it from Odean Smith. But it happens, and so as a young man, he won't want to carry that slight embarrassment when he gets the ball in his hand. He's been bowling well. Should be gone. Is gone. The number 6 ranked T20 bowler in the world, Akil Hosein, picks up his second.
Good decision by Rovman Powell to bring back Akil Hosein despite the matchup of a left-hander. Safe hands of the captain, down at long on. Easily taken. Odean Smith will be the first one running to thank him. Mitchell Santner goes for just 13 from 11 runs. 11 balls, sorry.
Captain Kane coming in at 4 today. You talked about matchups, and we often say that you use the numbers, but you're not married to the numbers. You're flexible with it. Santner himself has picked up a number of left-handed batters in this series, including Nicholas Puran, Carl Mayers. He's an outstanding bowler in good form, Akil Hosein.
You will notice a bit of turn there, almost choking Santner, so not able to get his hands through the ball to get it into the gap that he was aiming for.
Slip in place. That sort of line just there. The ball he bowled Rohit Sharma with when India were here in the Caribbean a couple of T20 matches ago in Florida, I think it was absolutely Hosein. When he touches down on middle stump on a good length into the pitch and it turns. He got Paul Sterling with one here earlier in the year too. And then like that, when it runs on, it complicates things. Excellent.
This is exactly where he want to be to Kane Williamson, not giving him too much room.
There we go. Let's look at the Martin Guptill sequence. Used his feet well. And of a similar length went across the line of it. But the good thing for Hosein, he wasn't overawed and he continued bowling straight. Single, but that again was the Hosein type delivery. Glad to see Odean Smith getting an early over. I thought they kept him too late in the previous game. Not saying that he's going to have, whether or not he's going to have great success. But they gave Jason Holder 3 on the trot. Didn't work out last game.
Four fielders out or deep point. Deep Third man, fine leg, and backward square. Has to be back of a length here.
Touchful, but as I've said with Odean Smith, it really just has to be top of off. Hard length, top of off, inside or on the off stump. Flown past point in Brandon King.
And that's the sort of length he'll be looking to bowl. But that's a touch too wide for King Williamson. Agonizingly close to Brandon King. But he's a perfectionist when it comes to this shot. He'll nail this 99% of the times.
Could even be a touch fuller without overpitching. Remember, he got Guptill caught by Hetmeyer early in the series. You don't want to be bowling those too often. That's good. I like that length. Just have a look at this one, folks, and Shakira Selman. This was Akil Hosein to Rohit Sharma. This is typical Hosein and perfect Hosein.
So where you decrease there, starting that ball just around middle and off and getting it to turn ever so slightly to beat the batsman. This is Akil Hosein's previous over. That was the wicket ball. And then these deliveries at King Williamson, this is exactly what Bish was talking about. Just look at that line. Him to turn, that's all he needs.
Seven from the over, 56 for 2. Hayden Walsh Jr. replacing Akil Hosein. If you just joined us, no Nicholas Puran. Rovman Powell is leading the team today. Brandon King is back. So too Alzari Joseph. And of course, Akil Hosein. 4 changes for the Windies, 1 for New Zealand.
King Williamson will feel as though he missed out there. Again, a bit sharp, but a bit too much room. Thinks he missed out. This is a very important game for Hayden Walsh Jr. He had his most expensive spell for West Indies in the previous game, bowling 4 overs for 55 runs.
no, King. Work your head. Come
Wind
on,
pretty
boy, come on,
strong
man.
from east, southeast
Work your head, boy. Come on, man.
over the big giant screen. Evan Thomas wants a review, and they have reviewed it.
Third umpire, the television director, we have a player review for caught behind. The original decision is not out. I've already checked and established it's a fair delivery. Can you move on to front on spin vision, please? Front on spin coming up. Yeah, the ball appears to be quite close to the glove and the bat. I'll need Ultra Edge to confirm if there's any bat or glove involved. Ultra Edge coming up. Ball is passing under the bat at the moment, flat line. Just freeze it right there. There's a spike as the ball is on resting on the glove. Just rock and roll it. Just rock and roll it for me, please. Yeah, clear spike as the ball is resting on the glove. I'm ready to go back on field to Nigel. Nigel, I'll have to ask you to overturn your decision from not out to out. You're on screen. You can signal now.
Decision overturned. Brilliant review by West Indies. Prompted by Devon Thomas and Hayden Walsh Jr. himself. Devon Conway goes for 21. New Zealand lose their third at 57.
The impressive Glen Phillips has come to the crease. Has batted wonderfully well in this series. Generally has batted well by world standards in the last couple of seasons. 70, 17 and 76 so far in this series. And he's taken to Hayden Walsh previously 38 from 18. Strike rate of 211. Can Walsh get his own back? Nice from Powell to have that man in slip, giving Walsh that confidence.
Work your head, work your head, work your head in.
Here's a look at that wicket once more.
Come on, head in.
Way outside leg, but a wonderful take by Devon Thomas down the leg side. Says wicket more than anything. This should give Hayden Walsh Jr. some confidence. His first wicket in the series.
And some people may ask about the umpiring on that wicket. I think it's almost impossible for the umpire to have picked that up unless he heard something, and it's off the glove, so it will just be a very dull noise. Because it's so late into the shot and it just brushes the glove, you can have some sympathy for the umpire. Good from Thomas. It's almost a similar delivery that Conway swept bottom edge for 4 in the previous game. 59 for 3. Mitchell has also played well. His last knock here was quite good. Santner came in at number 3 today. Romario Shepherd's back. Usually very good at bowling his cutters, and the important thing, having watched the highlights of the previous games, the cutters sometimes from Holder and Shepherd have been too full. You've got to bowl it more into the pitch.
Tighter lane. Better start by Romario Shepherd. What I also like to see is him be more proactive with those cutters instead of waiting until he's hit for that boundary. Bowls them quite well, especially when he bowls them into the pitch like you suggested.
Very good and very nice little smattering of spectators on the eastern side of the ground in the high-profile Jamaican colors. There's a Barbadian flag there that's saying hello to Shakira Selman, Trinidad and Tobago flag, Guyana flag. But they've come out with the DJ pumping the sound into the atmosphere this afternoon.
This is a brilliant start to the over. Nice tight lanes at King Williamson.
Hosein against Glen Phillips. That nice, good length, back of a good length. Tight lines.
Hands on heads from the spectators. The play and a miss from Glen Phillips. But that length is particularly important. It's a bit wide, but that length, that's a good length to Glen Phillips. See a change in fielder. Fine leg coming into the circle and long on going back. And this is because he feasts on anything too full and targets for that long on position.
That's the sort of line, that's the sort of length as well. And of course, still much to come in this series, Shakira. We go to your homeland, to Barbados, next for the first of 3 CG United ODIs on Wednesday. That's the line. That's what I like there. What I want to see the West Indies do is, if New Zealand are to hit boundaries, make them hit your good delivery. Bowl to your plan, and if they defeat your plan, so be it. You'll have to accept that to an extent with no slip. That's not Shepherd's fault. 10 overs gone, 64 for 3. And the Blue Waters drinks break.
New Zealand 64 for 3 after 10 overs, after winning the toss and deciding to bat first. in this third T20 match here in Jamaica. 3 wickets to go so far. First was Martin Guptill. Previous ball he'd hit for 6. Next ball he tried to swipe across the line and had his stumps knocked over. Mitchell Santner was sent in at number 3 as a pinch hitter, and he holed out to long on. Akil Hosein doing the damage, and then a good catch down the leg side by Devon Thomas, and that was Hayden Walsh Jr.'s first wicket of the series. Just a wee glove, but a glove from Devon Conway. Change of decision, and you have to say the West Indies bowlers have been pretty good today. 6 bowlers used, wickets for Hosein and Walsh Jr., the 2 spinners. New Zealand's lowest total at the 10 over mark so far this series. On a surface that's been used for the 3rd time. Don't think we're going to see as many boundaries and as bigger scores as what we've seen previously. Looks like run scoring's a little bit more difficult at the moment. That's a lovely shot through the covers for 4. Just got a little bit too full, did Hayden Walsh Jr. New Zealand captain Kane Williamson was onto it in a flash.
Yeah, splendid stroke from Kane. Too full, like you mentioned, and too easy for Kane Williamson. That's bread and butter for him. Plays that shot with consummate ease, does Williamson, along the ground, all along the ground.
Nicely bowled. Yeah, it's been tougher work, I have to say, for the New Zealand batters, Samuel, in terms of not only getting boundaries, but just the flow of runs. Hasn't been quite as easy as what we've seen earlier in the series. New Zealand hit 27 boundaries in the second match. That total of 215. Just hit the 9 so far today. Use of the feet. Protection out on the leg side.
Yep, it's the 3rd game, as we've said before, on the same pitch, so you'd expect it to be much slower than we've seen before. Some grip for the spinners, the slower balls from the fast bowlers. Taking pace off will be the preferred option, but importantly, the length of those deliveries. If you bowl full on this surface, you're going to travel. As a spinner, as a fast bowler, your length has to be impeccable.
Oh, he's in good touch as Glen Phillips. Just ease that behind point for 4. Just a touch of width, and he's in such good form he doesn't miss out.
And obviously, you'll have to combine that good length with your line. You can't afford to give this amount of width. That's essentially a free hit to a right-handed batsman. Needs to be tight in terms of his line and that back of a length.
Yeah, one of the areas that needed improvement from the West Indies bowlers was in that second match there was 11 overs that went for 10 plus in terms of runs conceded. Too many big overs. This is just the 3rd. There's 10 from this over so far. Just the 3rd so far this innings that's gone for 10 plus runs. So they've been a lot tighter. Bowled a lot better so far. That'll be a good over for New Zealand. They'll come back for 2. There's a misfield. They might get 3. The misfield will cost 2 from Akil Hosein. And it's a good over for New Zealand. 11 bowled, 77 for 3. No massive skyscrapers for New Zealand so far. A couple of big overs, but by and large, been kept in check by the West Indian bowlers. 3 wickets have fallen. Odean Smith back into the attack, medium pace. Went for 7 off his first over. New Zealand captains now a runner ball, 18 from 18.
Yeah, didn't bowl his full allocation of overs in that previous match and had his career best figures in the match before that, Odean Smith. Chance for a run out. Sent back, but he's showing improvement. It's something that you look for as a fan, as an administrator, as a coaching group. You look to see that players are learning. And Odean Smith is one of those players who so far has demonstrated that he's improving and that he's learning game after game. Certainly with the ball, he's shown tremendous improvement. And he'll want to continue that growth, continue that development. Another opportunity here to demonstrate that.
That's up and over and will race away for 4. Again, too wide. Glen Phillips was able to throw the bat at it, and it raced away down to third for 4.
They made a change in field just before that ball was bowled. The third went into the circle, and the guy who was in third man went a little bit wider. So it was a clear plan to bowl that ball short and wide, I suppose.
It's a dangerous plan.
It is.
Short and wide plans normally don't work. Now there's going to be a change. Is there? Yes. Brendan King is going to go back to third. And there's going to be 2 men behind point, 1 just in front. 3 covering that area. Interesting. Oh, bowls one straight that goes past the outside edge. Interesting plan, this one.
I don't think Glen Phillips was expecting that line. With that field set, might just be expecting something that's short and wide.
Well, you've got a deep point and 2/3, which is really interesting part of the ground to be protecting. Top left of screen. That will go out to Shimron Hepmeyer, who's out at deep point. Yeah, he played nicely in game 2 to Glen Phillips. He's one of those dynamic players that plays spin well, plays pace well. He's got some power for a little guy. Hits all around the wicket. That one went up on top of the roof. Excellent T20 player.
And this is good bowling despite the field from Odean Smith. Bowl that one full. You wouldn't expect him to bowl full given the feel that he has. He has mid-on, mid-off. So expect Glen Phillips now to try to flat bat him in that region or hit him in front of point through the offside to counter the field that is set.
Nicely bowled. Just the one down to the second, third fielder. Into the 12th over. New Zealand 85 for 3. Hosein has bowled beautifully today, 2 for 13, his first match of the series. Showing what a good T20 bowler he is. 2 key wickets, Martin Guptill and Devon Conway. Interesting to see how Glen Phillips and Cam Williamson play the left arm spinner here, what their options are. 3 fielders on the leg side on the boundary. Just be a single.
Yeah, he just continues to augment his T20 reputation, Akil Hosein. Went for 11 runs in the first over, picked up a wicket. And a very economical second over, also picked up a wicket. So each of his 2 previous overs, he picked up a wicket. And that's what he brings to this team, that wicket-taking ability. Something that was sorely missing in the previous 2. And his control so far has been impeccable.
It's good from New Zealand, though. Even on the good deliveries, they're still getting 1. So they're still ticking that scoreboard over. They'll be looking for a boundary opportunity at some stage in the over. I wonder if Phillips might try and go over cover, give himself a little bit of room. Go over that cover fielder if he can. Nicely bowled, nice and tight and straight. They'll look for 2. Hit Myers quick from deep mid-wicket. So again, just another single. Good start to the over.
His control is what has made him so successful, Akil Hosein, and the length that he bowls. A little bit fuller to the right-handers than he would to the left-handers. Because he doesn't want the left-handers to hit over cow corner, over deep mid-wicket.
There's use of the feet. They'll get through for another single. Ooh. It's been good. He's been ahead of the game here, Hosein, knowing what the batters are trying to do. He's been able to keep ahead. His final 2 deliveries are the key to the over now.
And he keeps his eyes on the batsman for a long time, so he sees when they're advancing so that he can pull his length back. Always important as a spinner to look at the batsman as long as you possibly can.
Oh, that's up. It's a miss-hit that's going to land safe from Phillips. Lucky.
He's trying to manufacture length here, Glen Phillips. Not as short as he perhaps might have thought. Certainly not short enough for that stroke. But because he's been so good, he's forcing them to try to do something differently. Unfortunately for Phillips, it fell safely. But good pressure being exerted by Hosein.
Flatter and quicker, finishes with a dot. Excellent over from the left arm spinner. 13 gone, 90 for 3. Six bowlers used by the West Indies today, and the difference in those 6 bowlers is that 2 of them are spinners for the first time in the series. And the 3 wickets that have fallen have gone to the 2 spinners on show. Akil Hosein and Hayden Walsh Jr. has the 1. Alzari Joseph playing his first match of the series. About to start his 3rd over. I think both New Zealanders will be more comfortable with a little bit more pace on the ball.
Hayden Walsh Jr. in that previous game lacked the control that he's been searching for, and hence ended up bowling his most expensive spell in T20 international cricket. And from this pitch map, you can see how erratic he was. Conceded a number of boundaries throughout that 4-over spell, and on both sides of the wicket. Today he's been much better, but you've seen Akil Hosein and how consistent he's been. Stuff for the leg spinner, having not played too many games in that series against India and coming into this one. Just the last game he played. Need to play consistently and continually to improve and to be consistent and to establish that confidence.
Well, that's gone straight up. Fielder coming in. Put down. Didn't get in quick enough. It was in the air a long time, and the fielder, Akil Hosein, had the chance to get in a bit quicker. He didn't, and it's gone down.
Yeah, a bit of a misjudgment from Akil Hosein. He was beckoning to Hayden Walsh Jr. to stay away. It's my catch. But in the end, didn't get in that drop zone quickly enough. Bad bit of misjudgment yet again from the West Indies, and we've seen some diametrically opposed fielding. Brilliance on one occasion and disappointing on the other.
It's hit hard by Phillips into the gap for 4. 2 fielders out there, he splits them both. Picks up a much needed boundary for New Zealand.
Both fielders out in the deep, quite a way in from the boundary. It's a big boundary hitting into the wind, but he's found the gap and he's bisected them perfectly. Insult to injury. Should have been a wicket instead. It resulted in another boundary.
Whenever a catch goes down, the next ball either goes for 4 or 6. Just to add the insult to the bowler. Always happens. What a shot that is from Glen Phillips. Oh, that's special. That's innovative. That's 6. Back-to-back boundaries, and yes, you should smile. That is a very clever shot.
Brings up the 100 for New Zealand. Have a look at this, folks. Spectacular from Glen Phillips. Kept his eyes on the ball all the way. What a stroke.
That's a delivery at 140k too. It's not a medium pacer. It's fast bowler. So clever. Ability just to hold his position. Keep his eyes on the ball, and then just a wee flick of the bat. That's all it was. Quite unique. And that's why it's hard to bowl in T20 cricket, because batters play 360. You can't have your fielders everywhere. Lovely shot from Phillips. Pulled away, but there is protection at mid-wicket, so that will just be a single to end the 14th over with 14 runs coming from it. New Zealand 104 for 3. Looks like lower scores today on this surface. Currently New Zealand going along at 7.43. They'll want to get up around that 165 mark, so they'll need to go at 10 overs, 10 runs per over for the last 6 if they're to get to that, but they have wickets in hand. I think they should get close to that. Drake's back into the attack. Pace off, good start to the over.
And that's the sort of length that you have to bowl those pace-off deliveries at. New Zealand have bowled generally shorter than the West Indies in this series, so that they've utilized the surface a bit more. It holds on the surface, and therefore hitting that sort of length is more effective.
Williamson uses his feet and out. Finds Akil Hosein, who holds on to it this time at cover. And the New Zealand captain's on his way. That's a big blow.
Fielder was just placed in that position before that delivery, and he finds him. Kane Williamson looking to go over the top. Didn't connect it as well as he liked. And a bit of a redemption for Akil Hosein. Williamson goes for 24, 104 for 4.
Daryl Mitchell comes in at number 6 for New Zealand. Played well in game 2 days ago with 48 from just 20 balls. Good strike rate. He's a dangerous player. It's a nice piece of bowling from Dominic Drakes. Again, hit a hard length. Williamson used his feet, tried to go up and over cover, couldn't get the elevation. And it was a good catch by Akil Hosein, who had just put one down and had the redemption of that catch there. Start to the over by Drakes, pace off, and then picks up a wicket. Not an easy time to come in. 6 overs left.
Was quick to get going in that second game. First ball was a dot, but thereafter he was off and running, Daryl Mitchell. Something that has been very impressive from him.
Starts with a dot again today. I think it's going to be a very tough surface to come in, find the middle of the bat straight away. I think it's the sort of surface, Samuel, where you actually have to give yourself 3, 4, 5 deliveries just to try and get used to the slowness of the surface, and that's not always easy.
A change in field, the point goes to short third and deep point on the boundary now.
Pace off, Mitchell underway.
Such an important part of the game, that assessment that you just mentioned there. One inning, you can come in and play almost immediately, get going. Another day, it's quite different. And as a player, you have to be able to determine that imminently.
Yeah, it's a really important part, isn't it? You like that feedback. Generally, it comes from the openers who are out in the middle and they say, look, I think 165 is a good total. When you scored 215 2 days ago, you have to make that adjustment really quickly. Square legs come up inside the circle for Glen Phillips. There's a deep mid-wicket, a long on, long off, third and cover point. He finds the fielder at cover. This has been an excellent over so far.
Yeah, brilliant so far from Dominic Drakes. West Indies, well, they have a few overs of spin remaining for the last 5 overs. Whether or not they utilize all of them remains to be seen. But it's a different plan this time around from Captain Rovman Powell. Akil Hosein has been exceptional. Walsh Jr. solid this time around. And between them, they've got 3 overs.
Swung away, it would just be one. That is an exceptional over from Dominic Drakes, a wicket. 2 runs to end the 15th. New Zealand, 106 for 4.
Final over for Akil Hosein. Switched ends. Pitch map is very instructive, Darren Ganga. When he's bowling well, he hits that good length, almost wicket to wicket more than most.
Yeah, and the other thing is he makes this subtle adjustment depending on the batter that is on strike. That's the smarts behind his bowling as well. Some players have strengths, some have weaknesses. He's well aware of them. I had a chance to speak extensively with Akil Hosein about his bowling and what has contributed significantly to his success in this format of the game. And he spoke about using the matchups, the information from cricket analytics, and using that to his advantage when he bowls. He knows exactly the strengths and weaknesses of players, and he preys on it.
Quick hands, very quick hands, into the window, not. Glen Phillips is a monster hitter.
Akeal Hosein knows if you err in this format, you will be punished. That was way down the leg side, too short. Glen Phillips uses the depth of the crease quite well, which allows him the time to hit the ball behind square, something we've seen from this New Zealand side. That's an uncommon area.
What is it with these New Zealand wicketkeeper batsmen with these quick hands? I think from a wider perspective for me, when I look at T20 cricket around the world, the West Indies have won 2 championships, 2012, 2016, through some unique idiosyncrasies of their power hitting when the Gales, the Russells, the Narines, those were at their best with ball and bat. I think for me, the rest of the world has now caught up with the power in the batting that they're able to generate. And there are a number of teams on par power-wise, and one or two might say they're surpassed. And in addition to that, they've got subtleties and nuances in their batting as well. So I think it's a good indication of what domestic players and West Indies internationals have to continue adding to their game. How does Hosein respond now? And go back to that good length. That's it right there, when he's at his best, when he varies pace.
Interesting to note that at the end of 15 overs, New Zealand 106 for 4. It's the lowest score that they've achieved at that stage of the innings when they batted. But importantly for the West Indies, been able to pick up 1 additional wicket to what they've achieved in the past. 4 wickets. I want to underscore that wicket-taking ability, which is so crucial for a bowling side in T20 cricket. You take wickets, you limit run scoring. That is exactly what they've done in this inning so far, with the inclusion of this man.
Ten off his final over, 4 overs, 2 for 28 for Akeal Hosein, 116 for 4.
Generally speaking, his control immaculate. Akeal Hosein once again showing his value in this West Indian side in T20 cricket. Easily the pick of the bowlers used so far by the West Indies. One over was in that power play as well.
Another crucial phase of the game where the West Indies at times have struggled in the depth. Ten off that previous over, 4 more to go. Yeah. Odean Smith is back. Glen Phillips needs no second invitation, much less a bubble and a misfield to come back for an extra run.
Not the best of bounce for Rovman Powell, but at this level you expect that last shot to be fielded cleanly, allows for Mitchell to be on strike. He's batting on off stump. That's a thinking part of the game as a batsman. If you can predict what the bowler is going to do, you have to put yourself in a position to counter it. Mitchell just batting outside that off stump because based on the field he recognizes that the line will be outside off stump. What's the plan now for Glen Phillips? He will be eyeing up that square boundary with the wind.
I wonder if they'll go wide. There's a deep backward point or wide third man extra cover. He does go wide.
Three fielders deep offside, deep point, deep cover, and there is a long off.
Going round the wicket. So will he look to go wide again, but try to get his wide Yorker in or pace off? To the pitch. Yeah, I just want to conversation about Odean Smith and where he needs to try. Not at this stage. This is a different stage of the game, but a delivery like this that he bowled to Glen Phillips some time back, and then followed it with this. This is what I call should be his stock length as he gains control and gets older in the first portion of the game. It's just to groove his action because sometimes he tries to hit it and misses it. But that's what his stock length has to grow into being. Nice from Odean Smith early in the game. And now we're seeing his death bowling skills, which he practices assiduously, wide Yorkers.
Also material to mention that after the first three deliveries, he only conceded 3, not a boundary. But he was proactive enough to go round the wicket, change the angle. With that change, sometimes as a batter, you start to overthink. And that's where you get the psychological advantage as a bowler.
Finish well. Brilliant from Odean Smith. Brilliant. We're seeing the growth in stature of a young man who's had a tough beginning to his international career. That's a big wicket.
Very significant in the context of this game. A critical moment, you would say. Phillips in the last game was a live wire at this phase of the innings. Not today. However, a very good innings from him comes to an end. 41 from 26. It's 121 for 5.
Still a very dangerous man. Jimmy Neesham must come to the crease.
Was in that Yorker zone. Glen Phillips attempting another innovative stroke. Didn't quite get the placement right. Left or right of Brandon King would have been a short boundary.
Still, though, critical to finish. I've watched, and we all have watched Jimmy Neesham, that World Cup semi-final against England, that game against Namibia in the T20 World Cup. 5 successive innings and that European, the back end of that European tour, strike at over 250 for an average of nearly 40. Add vital runs to the game. Teams again tend to try to go full and wide to him, whether it's pace on or pace off. And sometimes he reaches it and goes leg side or down the ground. I think Joseph has given himself 2 options here. He's got a wide third man sweeper on the offside, but also long on, deep mid wicket and deep square. So he's not only going to go wide. Good.
Now Mitchell, very prolific player for New Zealand. Flourishes in this sort of situation.
That's a shot. I don't know if it was a same shot, but in the previous game against Romario Shepherd went round the wicket to bowl that wide Yorker, or Mitchell certainly thought the wide Yorker, as Odean Smith did today. What I like about Shepherd is that he saw him standing on off stump or just outside off stump and went at his leg stump. As a bowler, once you get into your gather, you have to keep half an eye on if the batsman moves at all, so that you may have to alter what you had planned initially to bowl. I think you're standing at the top of your mark with a clear mind on an initial plan, but peripheral vision on the batsman's feet or otherwise. You go to for the last two of the innings?
Has to be Odean Smith. He's got 1 over remaining. And then I think Dominic Drakes, the left-hander, based on what he's produced with the ball, his 3 overs just conceding 9. He must be that second choice to finish things off for Rovman Powell and the West Indies.
To finish off the over clinically, only 4 runs so far. And he does that brilliantly. Just 1. Outstanding from Alzari Joseph. 1, 2, 6 for 5. His work with the ball today is done. None for 35. First game back in this series. There's Drake's back with that deep backward point, sweeper and long off. Good, good. West Indies have been working hard on this. Cannot be too. Oh, misfield again from the captain, or today's captain.
Rovman Powell will be disappointed with this effort. That's not the standard that he'd want to set as a player, as a captain. Making the same error twice.
Mitchell out of his crease now and on the off stump. Good from Drakes. And Akil Hosein says, I'm not letting it go to Rovman again. I'm going to field it myself.
Well, bowling-wise, I made mention earlier that this is a much more competitive group of bowlers for the West Indies in T20 cricket. Good smarts being shown by Dominic Drakes. As much as he has a set field where you can predict where he's going to bowl, he's not afraid to counter what the batsman is doing.
I'll touch on that, actually. I'm in no way predicting a winning outcome for the West Indies, but I want to go back to the first game and overs 9.8.3. When I made that very point, 8.3 overs into the first game, that if I were leading this team, I would have my best team starting, turn back the wheel, the tape. 8.5 overs into the first game. I want my best team starting the series and then give them rest if it doesn't work out. So I'm not saying this is a team that's going to win. I'm not saying that. That's just telling you my theory. Very good.
I'm with you there, Bish. Also, when you look at this West Indian side, it's a very young side. The only way to hasten the progress of this side is, of course, to produce more wins. That's when players will gain more confidence. They will flourish a little bit more. They'll mesh together much better. When you celebrate as a team, it adds value.
Yeah, wide. First extra up innings, and I understand, I fully understand it's a small squad, there's not much time in between squad. I totally get it, totally do I get it. And 3 ODIs coming up in Barbados, absolutely crucial to World Cup 50 over ODI qualification. Absolutely crucial. So you hope there in Barbados you get good pitches. And a fully fit squad. A couple more runs to bat for Hayden Walsh doing the field.
Of course, you made mention of those 3 CG United ODIs to follow, which are going to be crucial, but also crucial this T20 International Series. New Zealand has never taken a clean sweep in white ball cricket in the Caribbean. Wide. And that's a record, if you're a West Indian, you should attempt to preserve.
Yeah, that's important. I think it's down on the list of priorities too. I think the World Cup points supersede that. I hate losing, even if I'm playing my daughter at chess in the backyard, I hate losing to her. So that's just my personal thing. But I think there are elements of this team with Drake's also showing learning, Odean Smith showing learning, good signs. Love the smarts of the Yorker and pace-off combination. 1-3-6 for 5.
Dominic Drake's again showing progress and development as a bowler in white ball cricket. First game of the series, 1 for 19 from 4. Both himself and Akeal Hosein, the pick of the bowlers. Hosein 2 for 28.
Last over, talk us through before we get to the West Indies batting effort. I think you may have touched on it earlier. What the West Indies would need to do if, let's say, they're chasing 150. Need to finish this off well first. Odean Smith.
Wide signal, but I think there is a little bit of a bottom edge. West Indies will want to review. And the review is taken.
Review for caught behind, original decision not out. Third umpire to television director. We have a player review for caught behind. The original decision is not out. I've already checked and established it's a fair delivery. Can you move on to front on, please? Front on coming up. Yeah, the ball is close to the bat. I'll need ultra edge to confirm if there's any bat involved. Ultra edge coming up. Freeze it right there. Take it back, freeze it. There's a spike as the ball is resting on the back. I'm going to go back on field to Gregory. Gregory, I'm going to have to ask you to overturn your decision from not out to out. You're on screen, signal now.
Thankful for the technology. The West Indies will be saying umpires are human. They make errors. Jimmy Neesham can't fire today. 1-3-6 for 6. It'll be a hat-trick ball for Odean Smith. This is how we dismiss Nisha.
Not easy when you're standing far from the ball to be in full control. Option working well for Odean Smith and the West Indies. Let's just answer your question about West Indies and their batting approach in this run chase. It's great to see Brandon King returning to the side. He showed good form in the last series against India, a couple half centuries, even against Bangladesh. So playing in front of his home crowd will be a special moment for him, and he'll want to produce with the bat. Superb work from Shimron Hetmeyer. I feel the real issue with the approach has to be with the organization, with the top 4, top 5. Can't play like finishers. They've got to set things up with a good tempo, not compromising the tempo. They've lost too many wickets in that power play and middle phase of the innings. So for a start, less wickets being lost in the power play and in that middle phase of the innings for the West Indies with the bat.
Right, so the marker has been set down for them. 3 deliveries left. Mitchell very strong down the ground, usually very strong on the pull. Got him! He is strong down the ground. Sometimes Odean Smith continues to add building blocks to an impressive learning curve. Dominic Drakes with the catch.
And things going according to plan for the West Indies. Growing in stature, Odean Smith at this phase of the innings. Started in that series against India, when he bowled 2 overs in the power play and picked up 3 wickets. Once again, wickets coming his way this time. Daryl Mitchell gone for 14, 139 for 7.
East Sodi. He places Mitchell. Fine leg goes back. And long on comes up. I wonder if he goes into the pitch here at all with this deep leg side field. No. Fine leg resumes his position into short fine leg, and long on bottom right of your screen goes back. And clumps it over mid-off, and that's what Daryl Mitchell previously was trying to do, but he couldn't get under Odean Smith enough and hit it to Drakes.
Well, the man from Papa Toy Toy in Auckland, New Zealand, makes a statement with the bat. Usually known for his bowling, his wrist spin, but coming up trumps on this occasion with a boundary for his team. 1 delivery left in the innings.
The fine leg went back, so it was always going to be into the pitch, which Odean Smith wanted the ball before, but it changed the field. But an impressive outing for the West Indies with the ball compared to the previous 2 games.
Off the chase. They of course have the services of Mitch Santner. Picked up 3 wickets in each of the 2 previous encounters. And you would think that that would be a good matchup against these 2. A strike rate of just 112 as an opening batsman. Underwhelming. Shakira Salman, West Indies would be very pleased with that first half. The second half now to get the job over.
Yeah, they've managed to limit the New Zealanders to under 150, the lowest total so far in this tournament. But they do have a job to do if they bat now. Last game, they lost 4 wickets in the power play. If they're going to chase this down, these 2 batters are going to be key.
Finds the gap, finds the boundary. Loose delivery from Burswell and duly dispatched.
Short and outside leg stump. Easy pickings for Shamar Brooks. No chance for East Sodi. Boundary, first boundary for West Indies.
Down.
Got a bit of fielding there from Jimmy Neesham. He's opened the bowling Burswell 4 times out of 8 in his T20 international career, so it's not something that he's not used to. It's a real specific skill set as a spinner to bowl in the power play. Got a hand on it, Sodi this time. Limits them to 2. First over gone, 6 without loss. West Indies in pursuit of 146 for victory to register their first victory in this series. Mitch Santner, as we suspected, opening the bowling from the Courtney Walsh end here at Sabina. Picked up a wicket, first delivery in games 1 and 2. Not to be in game 3, but a very skillful bowler. Someone who outthinks the opponent, keeps his eyes on the batsman for a long time and knows the length to bowl on a particular surface. He really assesses conditions quite well.
And it does help that he's an all-rounder. So he knows exactly how batters think.
I would have seen the success of Akil Hosein in the first innings. Sometimes that puts an additional pressure on you. Couple wides, tried to fire that one in. When I played Shakira, and if the opposition team bowled first and the wrist spinner in that team did well, it placed an additional pressure on me to try to emulate that. And so Akil Hosein getting 2 for 28 might just urge Santner on a big heave. QN off the bat.
Brandon King will want to be careful with that shot. That's exactly the way Shamar Brooks was dismissed in the previous game to the same Mitchell Santner.
This is what he does so well. Rarely does he give you any bit of width. Mitch Santner, generally a wicket-to-wicket line, so that you're taking a risk to play those big shots. And as a bowler in the power play, a spin bowler in the power play, you accept the fact that you will be hit for boundaries, but you don't mind if those boundaries are hit from good deliveries, from deliveries that are on the stumps. Just like that. Of course, Brandon King in for his first game in the series, missed the previous 2, missed the last one against India as well due to a shoulder niggle. So it's good to see that he's back on the park. Not a handball, just cramping him for any bit of room. A good over from Santner to start 10 without loss. West Indies will need to get off to a good start, a platform being laid. It's 145, 146 the target, so they have some time, but they'll still want to make sure that they're capitalizing on the power play. Saudi into the attack, and now immediately that fuller length that we've grown accustomed to from him, looking, searching for some swing.
And noticeably, again, he's coming from the Michael holding end. If that wind blowing across the ground, assisting him with that outswing he'll be searching for.
Well played. Skillfully played. Just uses the pace, uses the angle, and finds the gap. Touch player, Brooks.
I'd rather see this from Shamar Brooks. A deft touch just past that fielder at short third. Allowing the ball to pass him just a bit. Controlling it past that fielder.
Appeal from Saudi. No interest from the umpire. A boundary on the offside. Boundary down the leg side now. Leg buys. Might want to think about a review. Kane Williamson. Don't think that he too is too interested. And so consecutive boundaries for the West Indies. Just getting a little bit too straight. Saudi slow ball. And just enough pad on it to beat the wicketkeeper Conway. Straight to the field at that time. Brandon King, as I mentioned, missed the previous two games due to injury, but this one was that leg buys that went down past the wicketkeeper, clearly not out. Seemed to be quite okay, Brandon King. Took a catch in the outfield and back at his regular position at the top. And this is when he sustained and how he sustained that injury. You can see that immediately that he was holding his shoulder in that T20I against India. Gets away with that one. Saudi, 20 without loss. West Indies off to a solid start, 20 without loss after 3 overs. New Zealand will be searching for wickets. They know that they'll need wickets to stay in this contest. A change in bowling once again. 4 different bowlers now we'll have in 4 overs. Lockie Ferguson back in for this game. Really hit the deck type bowler. Good pace. No slip.
Good start. See an example of that pace first up. Lockie Ferguson got 1 for 33 in that first game he played. Sure, Brandon King will be happy to be back out representing West Indies. And so will be the Jamaican fans. Him being a Jamaican.
West Indies, the batsman trying to target boundaries early in the over. Not yet able to break the shackles. A good start, a solid start, but not quite explosive. And that's not an issue. As long as they can ensure that once they get set, that they can make a significant score. That's the important part. They tried to get inside the line of that one, Brooks, but straight to the fielder. So he's looking to use the pace of Lucky Ferguson.
Ferguson has 4 fielders on that leg side. Short fine leg, short mid wicket, mid on, and the fielder deep at backward square.
Shot from Lucky Ferguson, not much support from behind the wicket. But again, Shamar Brooks looking to get inside the line of the delivery. West Indies have already gone past the number of dot deliveries that New Zealand faced in their power play. New Zealand had 11 dots in the first 6. West Indies already 13 in the 4th over. That had some pace on it.
Short and good carry through to the keeper, Devon Conway. This is what you expect to see from Lucky Ferguson. That extra yard of pace.
Yeah, 2 Devons wicket keeping in this game. Devon Thomas, Devon Conway. Excellent over from Lucky Ferguson. Just the solitary run. 4 overs gone, 21 without loss. Four different bowlers used in 4 overs, and we'll see the return of Santner from the Michael Holding end. Long off deep backward square, his 2 boundary riders. Does he find the gap? He does find the gap. Gave himself room and got the length and got the result, Brandon King.
This is really good to see, really good. Using the crease laterally, giving himself enough room. No fielder at the deep cover area. So he knew he just had to pierce the infield.
Same field. Down the track, over his head, powerfully drilled by Brandon King. Played off the back foot previous delivery, used his feet this time. Excellence.
This is what was missing in the first 2 T20s. Very good from Brandon King. Very brave use of the feet and hitting it back over the bowler's head.
Good from King.
We haven't seen Mitchell Santner put under this type of pressure at all in this series.
Huge shot from Santner. Might be the height. Even he himself is perhaps suggesting that. Calls for the review. Williamson.
Third umpire, the television director. We have a player review for LBW. The original decision is not out. I've already checked and established it's a fair delivery. Can you move to front on, please? Front on coming up. Yeah, the ball is quite close to the bat. I'll need Ultra Edge to confirm if there's any bat involved. Ultra Edge coming up. There's a flat line, the gap between bat and ball. There is no bat involved. I'm ready to move on to ball tracking when available, please. Just waiting on ball tracking, Greg. It's building. Ball tracking coming up, pitching outside off, impact in line, wickets missing. I'm ready to go back on field to Gregory. Gregory, I'm going to advise you to stay with your original not out decision. You're on screen, you can signal now.
Good decision from umpire Gregory Brathwaite. Bounce and saving Shamar Brooks. It's been a good over so far for the West Indies, 9 coming off it.
Here we go.
Quick single, he needed to pick up, did Jimmy Neesham. Would have been interesting to see if he did.
A good running by the West Indies. Good to see them putting pressure on the fielders in the circle.
Good over for the West Indies, 11 runs from it, 5 gone, 32 without loss.
For the West Indies. 32 without loss after 5 in their chase of 146 to win this third T20 match. Tim Southey back into the attack for New Zealand. Oh, bang! That's deep. That's over mid-wicket. 15 rows back. What a blow that is from King. Perfect start to the over. That was brutal.
Be fascinating to see how this final over of power play goes. Teams usually target it when 2 set batters, and a lot of intent in that slow ball too full. It's got to be into the pitch if it's slower ball.
Oh, pace off again. Finds the gap. Martin Guptill can't get across. Races away for 4. Great start to the over. A good effort by Guptill. Southey under the hammer here.
Slightly better length than the previous boundary. Brandon King knows these conditions well. He is from Jamaica. Can he continue building, or can Southey strike back?
Oh, that is skillful. Well played. Just leant back and guided it down to third for 4. 3 boundaries to start the over, and the crowd are starting to get excited.
2 slower deliveries. 116 Ks, 116 Ks, and then pace on. But the awareness of Brandon King to say, I'm not going to over-muscle it, I'm just going to use that pace, is a thing of beauty.
Oh, swing and a miss. That's not far away from off stump. Relief for Southey, it's a dot.
Yeah, and I wonder how batters think you got into the over with 3 boundaries, a 6 and 2 4s. Now, can you get out of the over? Maybe still looking to score, but certainly not giving a wicket away.
Pace off. This works the one to square leg. There's Brandon King. Well, this has been the West Indies' best power play of the series. Good time for that to happen as well. Putting New Zealand under pressure. Lowest first innings total of the series as well. West Indies trying to avoid clean sweep here.
And we're getting to that phase of the middle overs.
Nicely played. Nice way to finish off the power play for the West Indies. A successful one. 48 without loss after 6. Clever batting. It was an expensive over. Went for 16. Now the West Indies in a position of strength, but the key now is the next 5 or 6 overs, because spin's going to be a factor. The leg spinner Ish Sodhi straight into the attack to bowl the 7th over for New Zealand. And this is going to be the key part of this match. Yeah. New Zealand spin bowlers. West Indies have made the perfect start. Haven't lost a wicket. 48 on the board. Now, how are they going to play the New Zealand spinners? This will be an area of interest. Ian Bishop.
Yeah, you brought up the chart, the graphic the other day about the dot ball percentage in the middle and the lack of boundaries. It's a chance with not too much pressure and 2 set batters having gone through the power play wicketless to impose themselves or work the ball around.
Exactly right. That fast start, chasing the low total. It's the ability to work the ball around, score off every ball, and that will put pressure back on the New Zealand team. They know that they need wickets on the surface, so they don't need to rely on the big shots. Just have to be efficient through this period. Just like that.
And you'd be well aware, Craig, they had a run chase in St. Kitts a few weeks ago of 139. And it became tight after a while. So what have they learned? What has Brandon King learned from that in chasing this sort of mid-range total to apply here?
Only one.
50-run partnership up between these two. Just the second time they've opened together. On previous occasion against Pakistan and Karachi.
Go work there, GP.
So, relatively new opening partnership, but they've done a good job.
Go on, Ish.
66 in their previous partnership together, and now 50. I just wonder whether this is the opening partnership further down the track that the West Indies might go with. Can't get any better than opening twice and 250-plus partnerships, Bish.
Lovely boy.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I still, if you have the value of a left-hander in Kyle Mayers who you think is as good maybe as, let's say, Shamar Brooks, it should be King and someone. I'd still think that I'll come back to it if nothing happens.
It's hard, really hard. A lot of work for Glen Phillips to do. Lucky he's so quick. Great piece of fielding. He keeps it to 1.
Brilliant, GP.
Yeah, not being picky. I still want Shamar Brooks in this situation to be at least a runner ball. I want him not striking at 67. I still want you to cruise if you choose to do that to anchor, if you choose, but still at a runner ball at least.
Oh, Ish, it's close.
Nicely bowled.
Lovely finish.
Just 4 from that Ish Sodhi over. 7 bowled, 52 without loss. Perfect start by the West Indies. Good opening partnership. New Zealand under pressure now. Interesting that Mitchell Santner is about to start his 3rd over. And that's a win for the West Indies. This is only the 8th over of the innings. It's a win. Oh, that sounded good. Crunch off the bat, over mid-wicket for 6. Brandon King is on fire today. Great start to the over.
Yeah, and his story is an interesting one because a middle-order batsman by nature, by speciality. I think it was 2019 in the Hero CPL where he opened the batting. He was put up by Johan Botha for the Amazon Warriors. Leading scorer in that tournament at the top. And that's what catapulted him into West Indies recognition at the top in this format. He's had some trials and travails, but he looks in really good touch today.
He does, on a surface that most batters have found difficult to time the ball. Not so for King. Oh, nicely played. Use of pace. Michael Bracewell's got work to do. Does well, keeps it to 1. New Zealand on the back foot. Good from Shamar Brooks. Keep rotating the strike. That scoreboard ticking over.
Do you look to, I know there's still time for something to happen, where does Nisham come into play or Daryl Mitchell with the ball?
I'm not sure they do. Yeah, there are options, along with Glen Phillips, that the captain will think about. And it might be an over from one of those guys to try and break the partnership, change things up. Still got Sodhi and Bracewell, number of overs, so spin's still going to be the key. Slower, nicely bowled from Mitchell Santner and wider. Thick outside edge from Brooks.
The strike rate has dropped to 62, but King is taking the pressure off him though.
Down the ground, finish with a single. It's a good over for the West Indies. It's 10 from it, 8 bowled, 62 without loss. Sodhi to start the 9. Oh, there's some turn there. That's a tough shot to play against the spin. Some help for the spinners. New Zealand really need a breakthrough. Brandon King's the man that they'll be after. He's made a fast start. Oh, that's gone. That's gone all the way for 6. Was a long hop from Sodhi and it got what it deserved. Nice shot from Brooks.
That will feel so good for Shamar Brooks. 1, for himself and getting his strike rate higher, and 2, that he is not leaving all the pressure to score up to Brandon King. Not a great delivery.
Back on it, yeah, Ish, back on it, yeah, fella.
Oh, that sounded good. That sounded good, back to back. Shamar Brooks getting in on the fun. Sodhi under the pump. This is excellent from the West Indies.
And with 2 strikes, his strike rate has gone to 100. A runner ball. And if Santner has already bowled free and Sodhi is getting knocked around, you've got to dig into your resources now if you're New Zealand.
You do. The likes of Lockie Ferguson have to come back. Sodhi's missed his line with the first one and then his length with the second one. That's short as well, but there is protection deep on the leg side. really interesting, Ian, just to see where Kane Williamson does go under the pump, under pressure, not dictating terms, who he turns to. Is it one of those part-timers you mentioned, or is it someone like a Lockie Ferguson? That's nicely bowled.
There's something there, isn't there? But I suppose, like we say about Hayden Walsh Jr., you've got to be able to hit the right spot. There's turn, just enough encouragement.
Yeah, there hasn't been any consistency. That's been the problem for Sodhi. There is certainly something in the surface if he can land it. Oh, that's good. 3 in the over. Wow, what a way to finish it. That's probably the biggest. Brandon King is on fire. Big over. It's gone for 19. And the West Indies are 81 without loss.
All the credit to Shamar Brooks and Brandon King. I just found the disparity in deliveries in the over to be interesting. Long hop over deep backward square for 6, over pitch for 6. Then you spin one off a length and beat the outside edge, and then you go too full again. So a total lack of control from Sodhi, but excellent batting.
West Indies making this look easy. Perfect start. Again, it's too full. It's in that zone. Brandon King said, I'm not missing out. My buddy out the other end's hit 2 in the over. I'll finish it off with the 3rd. Excellent batting. Way too inconsistent, that last over from Sodhi. It's put New Zealand under pressure. And it's no surprise, Bush, that Lockie Ferguson, I guess the gun in this New Zealand attack, has come back into the attack.
Yeah, there's the first ball of the over. And then there's a 6 down the ground a couple of balls later. But in between that and this strike, there was a good delivery on a length and off stump that spun past the outside edge. So the disparity in length would disappoint the bowler. Now, how do you approach this Lockie Ferguson over if you see him as coming back to get a breakthrough?
Wow, that's got to be the key. So you've got to give him a fielder, whether it's a slip or someone in a catching position. New Zealand haven't been under this sort of pressure throughout the series. This is excellent from the West Indies. There's no slip and play. There's just the 4 fielders inside the circle. Almost like New Zealand are waiting for a mistake. Nicely played behind point. I think you have to have someone in a position. You have to bring another fielder up, whether it's a slip or a short catcher. You can't just bring your nasty, faster, your most aggressive strike bowler back and hope that the batters make a mistake. You've got to put something in their head.
I wonder if he's got a good yorker, a good slow ball, a good short ball. 2 fielders deep back. On the leg side. So I'm wondering if he'll use that short ball, whether it's pace on or pace off. 2 fielders top right, fine leg and deep square. It's hitting with the wind, but
yeah, that could be an option. It really could. The reason he's come back to bowl this over is to get a wicket, break this partnership. Nicely played. Should get 2. The placement there. Shamar Brooks will canter back for 2. Excellent. This now becomes the highest opening partnership in T20 international cricket on this ground. What a stand it's been. 85 without loss into the 10th over. West Indies doing it in style. Required rate is down at 5.8. There goes the bouncer. It's quick. Seriously quick, but well played by Shamar Brooks. Got under it early. Let it sail over the top of his head.
Yeah, that's what I thought would come at some point during this over. If you're talking about getting a man up, what Lockie Ferguson usually does in 50-over cricket is bowl with a third-man fine leg, deep point, deep square, and no one down in the middle overs at long on. So you could get the man from long on, bottom right, up into that circle. Instead, mid-wicket has gone back.
Here goes the Yorker. It's a good over. It's only gone for 4. But it's the West Indies who are in front after 10 overs. It's 85 without loss. Time for a Blues water drinks break.
Couple boxes ticked already for the West Indies. Brandon King producing more runs at the top. And no wickets falling in the power play and partly in this middle phase of the innings. Highest opening partnership for the West Indies in T20 internationals at Sabina Park produced today. And it will continue. Shamar Brooks, Brandon King, 85 already. Punctuated with 5 6s, 6 4s. Terrific entertainment if you're a West Indian fan. Helped along with some indifferent bowling. Isodi had an over where he conceded 3 maximums. Back live here at Sabina Park, and it's a good crowd in that grass bank area. Wonderful support for Brandon King, the local boy playing in his first international match at home. Bracewell for his second over. Afternoon. Shakira Salman.
Good afternoon, Darren. West Indies have managed to put themselves in a very good position. And what we've seen is confidence being exuded by both these batters, but especially by Brandon King.
Firmly struck. And a brilliant piece of fielding. That's a very high standard set there by Martin Guptill in the field.
Good cricket all around. Bracewell tossing up that delivery. Lovely drive down to long on.
Oh, lovely beast, lovely beast.
It was brilliantly fielded by this man, Martin Guptill.
Yes, beastie boy.
Gives his all in the field every time.
Keep hitting that length there, beastie boy. Come on.
Reverse sweep attempted.
Yeah.
We will wait and See the signal from the umpire. Buys. I think that wasn't the signal for buys, just indicating that 2 balls are remaining in the over, so runs.
This is really good for West Indies. Without taking any risks, they've managed to get 6 runs already from this over. The attempted reverse sweep from Shamar Brooks. See it taking the on the edge there. Even though that's not where he intended to hit it, he still got runs for it. End of the 11th. West Indies 92 without loss.
No dots on that maroon worm so far. Significantly different to what we've seen previously in this series from the West Indies with the bat. Ferguson to continue. And that's a terrific 50 for Brandon King, his 5th in T20 internationals. It will be a special one because he's played it in front of his home crowd.
That being celebrated by the fans and also his teammates. It's been an excellent showing. 50 runs of just 30 deliveries. He's already hit 3 sixes and 4 fours.
Highlight for me in this innings is the way he's gone about playing ball on merit. He's played proper cricket shots. Brandon King looks quite organized. Something we haven't seen too much of from the top 5 in this West Indian batting lineup in the series.
Brandon King playing his first game in this series. What was really good was his movement around the crease. And he really took on the New Zealand bowler with shots all around the field. Deft touches included. Took a liking to each Sodi.
He seemed to have good clarity when playing his strokes. It's his fastest half century in T20 internationals. Can't have a muddled mind when you're opening the batting in T20 cricket. Yep, still got to be instinctive as a player to capitalize on anything loose.
That one slapped, but there was a fielder at long on, so it'll only be 1. What he's done well also is he's mixed that power with some poise, and he hasn't only looked to hit the ball aerially. He's gone along the ground, and we've been asking for that for a long time.
Just 4 runs from the over, 96 without loss. Glen Phillips top scored with 41 for New Zealand. They only got to 145. 145 for 7. Santner into his last over.
Yes, set. Yes, boy. Good signs there, set. Good signs there, boy.
Bit of turn and extra bounce from Santner there. New Zealand just hasn't been consistent enough with those nagging lanes and lanes. Too often they've strayed down the leg side.
I guess the other thing to take notice of in this run chase is the fact that 2 right-handers open the batting. Usually teams opt for a left-right combination. And again, it reinforces the point that sometimes that left-hand, right-hand combination must be given a lower weighting. Doesn't matter, the West Indies with 2 right-handers doing the business. Another top effort in the field. Darryl Mitchell, the fielder, saving a couple runs. But it doesn't prevent that landmark for the West Indies now going past 100 without loss.
Excellent partnership by these two. First 100-run partnership of the series. There's that effort once again by Darryl Mitchell. Really good on the boundary. Just a boundary check there to see if his foot perhaps touched the rope.
Looks good in my estimation from that image. No contact made with that advertising triangle. Many West Indians will take note of the fact that this is the West Indies' first 100-plus opening partnership in T20 internationals since January 2020. Last time they achieved that type of effort first up with the bat was Lewis and Simmons against Ireland on that occasion.
Yes, 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 yes. Overboard.
End of the 13th over, West Indies 102 without loss.
How you feeling, son? How you feeling?
Two right-handers at the crease. Brandon King a little more aggressive than Shamar Brooks. Southey this time for his 3rd. Not just yet.
He's gone for 21 from his 2 overs. What he has to do better here is disguise those slower deliveries and bowl that more into the pitch.
Fielder comes around, catch completed, so that magnificent partnership is finally broken. Brandon King not connecting well, and Southey prevails.
That one dug into the pitch. Shoulder height. Brandon King trying to pull that off the front foot. Easy catch from Martin Gutto. A deep forward square. But the end of a superb innings by Brandon King. He goes for 53 from 35, getting the West Indies off to a brilliant start. 102 for 1.
in the 14th over. The first wicket coming for New Zealand. Devon Thomas gets a chance at number 3.
That delivery once again short and just outside off stump. Brandon King decided to take on that fielder. Easy catch from Martin Guttill. And finally, a smile for the New Zealanders.
That's one more. Brooks turning the tempo up, having lost his opening partner. Looking quite stylish in completing this stroke.
It's wonderful to watch. Just swiveling on that back foot. Easy pickings for Shamar Brooks. Tim Southee obviously not as quick as Lockie Ferguson. So it's a bit easier to help those ones down the leg side.
Of course, Shamar Brooks approaching his best in T20 internationals. 49. Has a chance here to go past that landmark of 50.
His straight rate is still only 100. It'll be interesting to see what he does here now that Brandon King has been dismissed. Away call by the umpire. Unlucky for Tim Southee, I reckon. Just try to follow Shamar Brooks there. Give himself room very early.
Just a runner ball required, Shakira Selman. What should be the approach by Shamar Brooks?
We already know he's capable of working the ball around. I still like to see him try to up the tempo a bit for his own personal growth. I think it could do his game so much good. I mentioned in the last game, he told me he wasn't happy with his strike rate. So I know he wants to get that strike rate up to at least 120. An important note here for Devon Thomas as well. He hasn't had very fruitful returns with the bat in this series.
Off the mark, and he'll keep strike. Devon Thomas. 109 for 1.
Come on, Ish. Come on, your turn, yeah, Ish. One through the gate, yeah, Ish. One through the gate, yeah, boy. Come on, lads. Come on, boys.
Thomas navigated a good run chase for the West Indies in that second T20 international against India. 31 from 19, an unbeaten knock.
Catch it, catch it.
Goes into the gap, gets 4. Fine stroke by Thomas. He gets going straight away.
Short once more from Ish Sodhi. Very good footwork by Devon Thomas. Just presses onto that front foot and then gets back really quickly. Getting deep in the crease. Hitting the ball into that gap in front of square.
Sodhi was guilty of over-pitching in his second over, which produced 19 runs for the West Indies. Here now, trying to make the adjustment. Too short.
No run.
That's much better. That in-between length that prevents the batsman from either playing back or getting far forward.
Lovely toddy there, Ish. Lovely toddy, boy.
Better pace also. A bit slower.
High, sky high. Another fielder comes around. And a wicket for Ish Sodhi. So finally, after a little bit of carnage, gets the prize wicket of Devon Thomas.
An average shot from Devon Thomas. Going to the big side against the wind. He's already taken 4 in this over. There's no need to go out there. And one of the better fielders coming under that, Glen Phillips. Good adjustment by Ish Sodhi, however. Devon Thomas goes for just 5. West Indies lose their second for 113.
Stand-in captain Rovman Powell will be very pleased up until this point. Shut out New Zealand for 145 for 7 and looking quite comfortable in this run chase. "32 more required for the West Indies to win its first game in this series. Devon Thomas was thinking big, trying to take this one over the boundary line, but ill-advised, hitting into the wind. And that's the larger of the 2 square boundaries, so a couple factors going against that stroke.
Interesting matchup here. Ish Sodhi has dismissed Rovman Powell twice already in this series.
Lovely there, Ish. Lovely there, boy.
Oh, look at that turn. That's the pace he should be bowling at.
Go. Timmy.
Survives Rovman Powell. 15 overs gone, 114 for 2.
Yeah, I can use it. Yeah, okay.
Only 2 successful bowlers so far for New Zealand Saudi, and Saudi, albeit a bit expensive. One area that they've done well in is pick wickets throughout the course of the innings, not today. And today is when they needed it most, defending 145. West Indies in control, in command, 114 for 2. And just a matter of playing intelligently for the remainder of this innings. 32 from 30. And they can pull one back. Shamar Brooks has anchored the innings, unbeaten on 48. Stand-in captain Rovman Powell want to be there at the end. What a shot to get off the mark. Excellent from Rovman Powell.
Lovely shot. Stand-in captain today. Rovman Powell wants to get this done and dusted. It's been an excellent performance from the West Indies. That's a lovely cover drive, finds the gap.
We've spoken about how ineffective the West Indies have been in games 1 and 2. Today, they certainly turned up for whatever reason. A bigger crowd, a much bigger crowd in here at Sabina to witness this, something that they've been yearning for, all of their fans. A heartening performance. And every time this team doesn't do well, it is felt across the region and across the globe for their supporters.
Yeah, they played well today, haven't they? Started with change of team, 4 changes, different players came in. That was the start, and really dominated from that point on. New Zealand spinners, who we expected to play an important part, haven't been a factor. Of course, it can happen in T20 cricket, can't it? The difference between a good and a bad performance is sometimes very small. New Zealand captain will be disappointed with New Zealand's performance today. The chance for a clean sweep, which has never been done by a New Zealand side in the West Indies.
It is a fickle format, so unpredictable. A couple of days ago, they looked unbeatable. Different story today. 16 gone, 122 for 2. Just 24 needed from 24 balls, a runner ball, 8 wickets in hand. And this chase has really been set up by Brandon King and Shamar Brooks, that partnership. Brandon King, his first international game here in Sabina Park, his home ground. And he didn't fail to entertain. And certainly a memorable performance for him and for all those who are in here today to witness that. Brooks on the cusp of a half-century himself. So far has equaled his highest score in T20I, Shamar Brooks. Never yet got past 49.
Certainly been something in it for the spinners, but they've lacked the consistency that we've seen previous. Look at that turn and bounce. It's gone up, it's difficult to play, but Ish Sodhi's really struggled to land the same delivery in the same spot.
54, Shamar Brooks gets there in the end. A landmark for him, 50 from 52. It's the slowest half-century by a West Indian in T20 internationals. But in the context of this game, and given the target score, it's been a good effort, a good knock. Inside out. Excellent shot, excellent option. Again, too wide from Ish Sodhi, but the length, that's the problem. The length is the problem.
It's another hit me ball. And Rovman Powell's not going to miss out on it. Just been a lack of consistency from New Zealand's leg spinner today, and he's been punished. Haven't been able to create any pressure at all, because there's always been a delivery that's been hit for 4 or 6.
This one is tugged on the one side. Got him dismissed in the first game, did Ish Sodhi, with a similar delivery, the previous ball. Rovman Powell was trying to hit leg side. This time he went with the turnover extra cover. A much better option. West Indies, well, very clinical performance so far from them. We've been saying that about the New Zealanders. Tables have turned. So this spell comes to an end. 1 for 36 from 4, 130 for 2. (16 from 18), 8 wickets in hand. West Indies have looked a really good team today, much improved.
Shamar Brooks has been rock solid today. It's the opening partnership between himself and Brandon King that really set the West Indies onto victory. He's played nice and late. When he's had a ball to hit for 6, he's put it away. Now with back-to-back blows, it really put Sodhi under the pump. A rocket of a pull shot before off Tim Southey. Top knock.
And you want to make sure, Craig, that he's there today, and he doesn't want to give them a sniff at this stage. 16 of 26 he was at the start of his innings. He's done well to get his strike rate close to 100, still not yet 100, but he can ill afford to get out.
Well, this is a game that the West Indies win with at least an over and a half to spare. 8 wickets in the shed, a player in on 50. It doesn't go anywhere near the last over. So West Indies have to make sure they're nice and efficient here, finish the game in style.
And New Zealand, of course, have been unbeaten in white ball cricket in 2022. They've won 16 on the trot in both ODIs and T20Is, so this will break that streak. It'll also break a winless streak for the West Indies. And New Zealand, a team that prides themselves rather on winning matches and being competitive. Massive. Stand and deliver, and it's gone the distance. Rovman Powell. Power.
2 full, 2 straight from Tim Southey. It got the treatment. Here's a powerful player, Rovman Powell. Look at that. It's in the slot. Just picked it up. It's gone a long way back into that second tier. West Indies doing this in style. Just the 9 needed now.
And so much psychological benefit to be derived from this victory. As they head into that ODI series, what they've shown is that this team is beatable, and they've got to believe that they can win in that series. Of course, it's for World Super League points. So a very, very important win.
Yeah, New Zealand unbeaten so far in the one-day World Series. 9 from 9. So some important points for both teams, but especially the West Indies.
Just a single. Of course, it's a different format, but they'll take that psychological boost if they can. 18 gone, 139 for 2.
James Neesham about to come into the attack for his first bowl this series. A little bit of a hospital pass. Has yet to bowl. Just the 7 runs needed now for the West Indies. It's been a clinical batting performance. They've been very good in all the disciplines today. Outplayed New Zealand right from the start.
Does it have the legs to beat the fielder? No, it doesn't. Will result in a couple. Ever so close to that target score, the West Indies. 5 from 11. There's so much to like about the performance today from the West Indies. The bowling, Akil Hosein, his introduction, a big difference. Odean Smith, career best figures yet again. Continually improving on that. And all of the bowlers. And then with the bat, Brandon King, he looked like he was batting on a different surface altogether.
Yeah, Glen Phillips is the only New Zealander that really found any timing out in the middle. The others really struggled to find the middle of the bat, but Brandon King was playing on a different pitch the way he came out, put the New Zealand bowlers under pressure right from the start. It's been a good all-round team performance from the West Indies today. Be a lot happier in the shed. Might even see a smile or two from the coaches as well. But you're right, Samuel, in terms of keeping New Zealand to 145, that was a below par total on the surface. 2 days ago, New Zealand scored 215. Today, 145. That's too big a disparity between the two scores. Probably 160 was par on the surface. So that would have given the West Indies a lot of confidence when they started their batting innings.
Important hand. And another couple inching closer to that total. Just 2 needed. An opportunity to win with an over to spare. What a difference a day makes. Yeah, hammered a couple of days ago, the second highest defeat to New Zealand. Could have been deflating and demoralizing, but credit to these guys. Credit to Rovman Powell, given the captaincy for this game, the way he's rallied the troops, the way he changed his bowlers, and the way his batsmen have responded. And he himself now unbeaten on 21 from 14. Nicholas Pooran resting today. That's it. That's the game. What a way to end proceedings. Rovman Powell, hometown hero, local lad, smashes that one into the party stand. And they're enjoying it. They've enjoyed every minute of this victory. West Indies winning by 8 wickets and pulling one back, avoiding a series sweep